So we are back with another Are They Doomed series this week. We're talking Mazda. We got Millin from Australia joining us, the founder and CEO of TeslaTaxi.com.au, an entrepreneur, a businessman, and a very sharp guy. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. Millin, how are you?
Very well. You caught me on my same day of my wash cycle. Wink, wink.
Yes, that's why. I am also wearing almost generic black t-shirt, but it's got some logo on it. So we're talking Mazda, and we're looking at a few different elements. The elements, of course, start with engineering. Mazda Electric. Now, they sell some of these in Australia. Have you yet seen the MX-30?
I have seen that you can probably get to the shops, but maybe not back, and kind of stop looking at that point.
That is correct. They have a range of about 100 miles. Now, mind you, it looks fine. And and you can plug it in on your regular 120 volt outlet. Well, yeah, because the battery is so small, what difference does it make? Mazda makes decent cars, but even at 35,000 US, which is what this is, 30, probably 6 with delivery charge, it's not very compelling. Yeah, the highs, looks cool. Exterior design is great. Eco-friendly materials, fun to drive. The lows, the range is far too short. And rear seats are cramped for adults. And at this point, in the US at least, it's only sold in California. Now, I know in the UK it's for sale. I know in Europe it's for sale. I know in Australia it's for sale. But this car is just bad. What are your thoughts on the engineering kind of overall?
I'll probably cover two things. It's all right. One is what value it actually has, and the other is the software mode that Tesla has. So, as you might know, I prefer Tesla. There may be some bias in my answers, but the last Mazda that I was in was actually through a fellow that makes the videos for Tesla Taxi. He lent me his car for a few days because mine were rented. It was a 2015, so not super old. Bearing in mind, though, the first Model S that I had was a 2015, and there was a bit of a gap there between the quality of software in those two vehicles manufactured in the same year, to the extent that I'm pretty sure I didn't even bother connecting Bluetooth. And you would think that if you couldn't be bothered connecting Bluetooth, maybe they've got a couple of issues with how that's laid out their software solutions. So that's a software leg. And just on the value, one of the big ones we've got in Australia is BYD, that you've probably heard of. They've come in at a lower price than Tesla. And what I often tell people is, if it was literally, and I'm not pulling stupid numbers, if it was literally 70 or 80% cheaper than a Tesla, sure, all day long, just buy it. But for 10, 20, 30, 40, even 40% cheaper, it just doesn't have the value in my opinion. But firstly, it's not a good car in comparison. More importantly, I think you'll find that BYD and Mazda will lose 40 to 80% of their value over 5 years. Teslas typically have been losing more like 5% per year or less. So if you think about the life of the car, it's very, very hard to make a comparison. Unless you're planning on, not insuring it and then just riding it into a tree every 2 years, then sure, go for your life. But
Well, that sounds like one business model. I don't think that's necessarily the direction buyers should be going, is into trees. The engineering is absolutely lagging and lacking. It is not a compelling product, not at its price. And I would almost say not at any price, but that's not quite true. If it was $10,000, I'd buy one. No hesitation. But at $35,000, it just doesn't make sense. And software is very difficult. Big companies, much bigger than Mazda, your GM, your Volkswagen, your Ford, they're all struggling with the software because not only are cars increasingly computers, but electric cars really are computers. There's battery management, there's thermal management. There's a lot of stuff that they have to take into consideration, and it's difficult. So for engineering, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving them?
I'm a solid 3.
Okay. I'm only giving them a 2, but I'll accept your 3. I think that's quite reasonable. Let's take a look at
just on the software side of things, I'll jump into my car tonight and I'll sit down, I'll swipe down on the screen, it'll put in my destination at home. And if I don't want to drive, I'll put it into autopilot and I'll be in control maybe 1% of the time, compared to a Mazda, which I'd probably be the first 15 minutes keying in my address each time.
Good Lord. My sister's Mercedes, the navigation was so complicated that she never used it. And I said, that's crazy. Here, let me put it in. And I had the same experience. It was terrible. So now let's talk about demand for what Mazda sells. And normally on this, I say, well, what are they hoping to build in terms of EVs? But in this, we can just look at what they're selling in terms of cars, and it is not good. Even in the US, they only sell 300-ish thousand a year, which for a country with, I mean, the market is very big here. And if you look at their year-over-year sales, it's just falling. I think and the cars they're making so far are just not compelling. And we haven't seen them take any serious steps to address that. Let me see what this next one is. Here we go. December sales. So this was for 2021. They were showing some decent growth in 2021, but it wasn't enough to convince me that they weren't doomed. And 2022 was not a better year. And if you look at like the Mazda 3 in 2021, down 38%. The Mazda 6 down 70%. Yeah, the MX-30, even that in 2021 from 2020 was down 65%. They're only selling them in the thousands per year. They had gotten up. It's just terrible.
Yeah. If I was making public service announcements for rats, I'd probably be advising looking at other boats at this point.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not compelling. So for demand, and you have to factor in the price. Again, if these were $10,000 cheaper than the competition, that alone would spur demand, but they're not. They're comparably priced, not good cars. Demand, I'm going to be generous and give them a 3.
Yeah, I don't see demand once self-driving sold, to be honest. I think demand will be almost non-measurable.
So a scale of 1 to 10?
0.
0. Wow. That's our first goose egg on the board for all the cars we've covered. Now let's look at the next thing is cost controls. Now for startups, this is an important number because if their burn rate is excessive, they're going to be gone before they can reach profitability. For most of the legacy guys, this cost controls and the next factor, which will be cash on hand, are less critical. But for Mazda, it might be because their sales are moving in the wrong direction and their free cash flow is negative every quarter. Almost every quarter, going back years. That is...
And I think that there is the opportunity for, I would say, Mazda and Toyota both to refocus on low-cost, non-electric vehicles for markets like Africa or somewhere where there's a lot of distance and not a lot of infrastructure. I think there's a chance some of these brands will reposition into a different market, but not necessarily just completely disappear. I think disappearing is probably more likely, but there are opportunities out there, and not everywhere is like America or Australia where everyone has a PowerPoint and everyone can charge at home.
Yes. So for cost controls, I'm going to be generous and give them a 4, but they've got all their factories left to retool. The MX-30 is not being built in a dedicated facility. It is being built on the regular internal combustion assembly line. They've got to retool everything, and they've got to do all their engineering still for the first time. So cost controls, I think 4 is even a little generous. What are you thinking? Scale of 1 to 10, cost controls.
3, I think, is okay. And as I say, that if they can partner with someone to sell them things and they just have to assemble them, they've got screwdrivers.
They do have screwdrivers. That is one thing that I guess we could say that is true. That is not bad. Cash on hand, the number is not great. Historically, they run in the 4 to 6 billion range going back a few years. They got as low as, oh wow, this chart is not promising for them. They had gotten as low as 5 billion in 2020. They somehow managed to get it back up to 7 billion. by the end of 2020. But right now they are at 5.3 billion cash on hand. And 5.3 billion is not enough to build 2 factories.
Yeah, I think the line in the sand for a lot of these legacy brands is around 2027, 2028. As I say, unless they can turn back time to some extent and be ahead of where they are now, I think the cash/appetite from investors is going to dry up in the near future.
That is not good, dude. That is not good. So I'm giving them a 3 for cash on hand.
I'd go closer to 2, but 2.5. Let's split the difference.
Let's not split the difference because I don't like decimals in my chart. 2 or 3?
Okay.
2 it is.
Lock it in,
I knew it. I knew it. Okay. So the last element is roadmap. What are they looking to do in the future? Well, do you know Mazda's USA CEO says longer range EVs aren't sustainable, Millin. Mazda's only EV in the US has 100 miles of range. Yeah, Mazda's been arguably late to the EV game, and they said, hey, people are hoping for 300 miles of range, but he just doesn't see that as a sustainable future. People are used to gas cars, Millin, which they can take wherever they want. But yeah, once people own a few EVs, they'll get it figured out and they'll go back to gas.
Can I just mention that I was very used to my Nokia 5110? I was super, super used to it. Then I did buy an Apple product at some point, and surprisingly, I didn't go back to Nokia.
Yeah, I was very good with the T9 texting. That was a system that was ripe for retirement. And further to their roadmap, Mazda faces a steep uphill road to EVs. They're trying to push partner Toyota beyond hybrid development. Yeah, it's got a 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, 100 miles of range, but maybe converting sooner than later will save them. Oh, do you think? Mazda's midterm management plan announced a $10 billion investment in electric vehicles, which, in my opinion, for Mazda, is not enough. With the first crop arriving in 2025 through 2027, and they want to do a 3-phase electrification. Yeah, they want to add the rotary engine as an extender for the range on the MX-30. So they're doing what a lot of the Japanese are doing, which is trying to take a hybrid approach rather than just commit and go with EVs. This is going to be money they throw down the drain. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
And 11 billion, they don't have it.
Yeah, there is a use case for a range extender. Like I would love to drive to Ayers Rock and put a little range extender in the front trunk of the Model Y. Don't think I'll ever do it, and don't think more than maybe 0.001% of the population needs that. But I can understand that it's not a zero amount.
It's crazy. Like Subaru, Mazda has relied on Toyota for its electrification strategy. So what you have is a company whose electrification strategy is already second or third rate, and yours is a pale shadow of theirs. For their roadmap, I can't even give them a 2. I'm giving them a 1.
Yeah, I'm happy with 1.
Oh, Mazda, what are you doing? Okay. This is not going to be good, but here we go. Putting in the ratings. It's a new record, Millin. It is the bottom of the barrel. It ranks lower than VinFast. It ranks lower than Lucid and Jaguar and Bentley. Out of a possible 100, Mazda has scored 22. Normally when I do this, I put it in there, and then I have to move it up to where it actually... No, right there at the bottom. That's where it goes. That's the correct spot for it. So that is...
And on that point, VinFast, at least they're moving in a direction that makes sense. So let's, if we were... It's brightly below them is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Now, looking at that, I feel bad for the low scoring on VinFast roadmap because they are going in the right direction. They're at least trying to electrify. The reason they scored low on their roadmap when we reviewed it was because their strategy does not have enough cash to get them to build a factory in North America, which they would desperately need to enter this market. And if they're trying to compete in Asia against all the Chinese companies, they are behind 24 Chinese startups in terms of where they're at today. And they're going to really struggle. And I think their ability to raise funds from anyone other than the CEO is going to be limited. And that's going to hold them back. Oh, man. Brutal.
Can I just ask, is that a practical lemon tree you've got there in the background?
It is practical, but it is artificial. It is plastic. It is plastic.
You can't rip one off. Just celebrate the quality of Mazda engineering.
No. I can't do that. I can't do that. Mazda. They do certainly look doomed from where I'm sitting. I do want to thank my patrons who get early access, bonus content, ad-free experience in many cases, all that. You can subscribe on, you can sign up on Patreon. You can become a channel member. I've got some bonus content there too. And yeah, all that stuff will work great. Now, I should mention that Millin has a Ford Lightning rental company, and they're going to be having, at some point in the future, in the soon future, CyberTruck rentals as well. Give me a quick little bit about that.
Yeah, look, the F150 Lightning rental service hopefully will launch properly in September, so I plan to be over in August to meet some owners. It's going to be a Turo-style thing, probably billing through Turo at this stage, but our catch is that we'll be able to set pricing that you can rent a F150 Lightning for a week and then get a CyberTruck for $100 for 2 days at the end, just so you can do a bit of A/B testing and see if the CyberTruck is as silly as everyone says.
And what fun that would be. Oh, two days in a Cybertruck after a week in a Lightning, I think would give you, I mean, even 2 days and 2 days would give you an awfully good comparison. But it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, the F-150 Lightning owners want their cars to be gone for a long time, so we're going to make that a week.
Yeah, and the neat thing about, I've ridden in the F-150 a number of times now, the Lightning, and it's great. It's a good truck. My big complaint is not with the experience of riding in it, or the actual use of it. My complaint is with that they just electrified an existing truck platform, and whenever you electrify a gas platform rather than build from scratch, there's going to be inefficiencies and drawbacks, and it's something they're working on. They're going to build a ground-up Lightning platform soon. Now,
I must say, on the plus side, the amount of power you can get out of that thing is amazing. I'd buy one just for that reason.
Oh, they're fun. There's a video I've got of me getting a test launch of one inside the LA Auto Show. That was a lot of fun. I'm showing on the screen now.
I was referring to the power to run power tools. Sorry.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah. In the video I ran a week or two ago, on the 6th, I think, 5th, somewhere around there, Ryan, who's a patron, a fan, a channel member, a friend, was saying that he went to a car show and he charged up 2 cars while they were at the car show, which is fun. So I'm going through showing the AI generations that I got for when I generated these thumbnails. This Mazda is going in 2 directions, which I think is appropriate considering their corporate strategy. Some of these look just fantastic. I don't know if they rise quite to some of these do rise to the level of poster quality. You would hang some of these on your wall. Others not quite as much. And we did get a sexy lady. Of course we did. Because I don't know about you, but yeah, I don't know about you, but when I think Mazda, I think sexy. Maybe not.
It's a car. It's a car. They sell better with girls. That's been proven.
Oh, you know what? That's probably what happened with the data training set. Is a lot of the pictures may have come from car shows. That's a good catch, Millin. Thank you. So what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Stay tuned. Stay juicy. Can't wait to hear from you, clever robots. In a matter of days, when we do one more of these, we're going to talk Nissan. Are they doomed to be determined? Thanks for hanging out, Millin.
Thank you.